Welcome to The Next Wave, brought to you by the Pacific Asian Center for Entrepreneurship. I'm Timothy Lum, one of your hosts.
And I'm one of your revolving co-hosts, Jamie. This season, we've got a brand new location, a new vibe, and the same mission: to dive into the journeys of emerging entrepreneurs, community leaders, and industry professionals who are making a real impact here in Hawaii.
Each episode, we aim to inspire, educate, and connect you with insights from the industry leaders and the rising stars of entrepreneurship.
So grab your phones, coffee, boba, tea, whatever keeps you going, and join us as we ride the next wave of innovation and opportunity.
Today, we're joined by Sandra Fujiyama, Executive Director of PACE, and Vance Roley, Dean of the Shidler College of Business. Sandra, Dean Roley, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So PACE this year is celebrating its 25th year. What does this milestone personally mean to each of you?
I really can't believe it's been that long. I've been here since January 1st, 2005. So I've been here for most of the journey of PACE. And I think it's just an incredible success story in that it's gotten better and better and better over time. It's had a bigger impact over time. And I think it's great to step back once in a while and celebrate the success. So it's a great time to do that at 25 years.
Yeah, so I agree with Dean Roley. I mean, for me, I've only been with PACE for a little bit over 3 years. But getting to understand the journey that they've gone through over the course of the 25 and seeing all the milestones that they've reached, or that we've reached now that I'm here, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, nice. Oh, I also forgot. If you don't mind me asking, prior to moving forward, can I get a little bit more information about you guys? Maybe a little bit more about what you, as far as your major, degree, what college you graduated from, maybe the other positions that you've had?
Oh, background on like who we are.
Just like general background on
bio.
both of you, yeah.
Okay.
He's looking at you. Go ahead first.
Okay, so I started.
She went to Punahou. She won't ever say that.
I was not going to say that.
Were you Punahou grad?
Yeah.
No,
yes.
that's awesome.
Yes. Okay, so if we want to go back that far,
Yeah.
I started out at public school at Kamiluiki Elementary, and then I moved over to Punahou. I'm actually very grateful to have gone right to both schools and experienced what it was like to be both in public school as well as private school. Education is incredibly important, so being able to see both was, for me, awesome. Then I went to college on the mainland. So I went to UCLA. I have a degree in biochemistry. And then after I graduated from undergrad, I went directly to law school. I stayed at UCLA. They provided a very cost-effective education. And then once I graduated from law school, I started working in California. So I became an IP attorney. So that's an intellectual property attorney. I practiced in LA for almost close to 15 years before coming back to Hawaii. And then when I came back to Hawaii, I practiced law for a little bit, but then moved over to the university. I did not start at PACE. I started in the Office of Innovation and Commercialization. That's where anyone who has an invention gets to come and disclose it, and then we figure out how to protect it and then commercialize it. But then I found out that PACE's position had an opening for the executive director, and I'd worked with PACE in my prior role at the Office of Innovation and Commercialization. And they're working on this awesome project called RISE.
Yeah.
So I got to join at a really great time, and thank goodness that Dean Roley decided to hire me.
Thank you, Dean Roley.
You're welcome. Yeah, it was a great hire. So I was an undergraduate at University of California, Berkeley. I majored in economics and statistics, double major.
Oh, wow.
And then I went on immediately to graduate school. I got a master's and PhD at Harvard in economics. Then I worked for the Federal Reserve for 5 years. And then I was with them 6 years, but 1 year I was on leave. I worked at the Council of Economic Advisors in Washington, D.C. And there I met David McLean for the first time, and that name will pop up again. And then I was at University of Washington for 21 and a half years, and I saw the Entrepreneurship Center start there as well, a little before PACE, but just about that same time. And then I was fortunate enough to get the dean position here at the University of Hawaiʻi. I've been here since January 1st, 2005.
Wow, that just from those two answers, I mean, there's so many questions that I have for both of you. I mean, one, biochemistry, that's crazy, and two, double majoring in economics and statistics, that sounds incredibly difficult. You know, as well as all the positions that you've had, that's amazing.
I love statistics. That was my first love, but then I took an economics class and I said, wow, this is a great way to apply this. So it matched
100%.
nicely.
Definitely. I have some friends in economics, and they're saying like econometrics is like one of the hardest classes that they've ever taken.
Yeah, that's what I did. That was my main field, is econometrics. And then I did finance. So back then, there weren't too many good PhD programs in business schools. Most of the finance professors came out of economics programs, and so that's what I came out of and became a professor of finance at the University of Washington, then associate dean, then acting dean before I came here.
Wow. If there is another chance at some point, I would love to just interview you both personally, you know, not about PACE. That would be amazing because I'm sure we'd have a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
since today is about PACE and our 25th anniversary.
Yep. Yeah, Dean Roley, I know that you mentioned that you've kind of been involved in a part of PACE's journey since the early 2000s. So kind of looking back, what do you think the initial vision for entrepreneurship at UH was, and how have you seen that vision evolve over time?
Well, again, I think PACE started about the time other entrepreneurship centers were being formed on the U.S. mainland. A key figure there was David McLean. He's actually the one who got the funding for PACE at that time, and was the founding dean. He was dean here 5 years before he was president of the University of Hawaiʻi system, where he did a great job in both cases. I think we knew entrepreneurship was really important back then. I mean, we looked at Silicon Valley, and you could see all the success there. And business schools just had this notion that we had to get part in this game because businesses were being formed, a huge amount of wealth was being created, a lot of jobs were out there, and business schools had to get engaged. No one knew what that engagement was back then.
Right.
And so I tried different things at Washington. We were working more closely with our tech transfer office. And so that was a big push. Working with PhD students on campus and going to the tech transfer office and try to see what we could make a viable commercial enterprise. Here, when I arrived in 2005, again, it was a very early time for PACE. It had been around for a while. The main event there was the business plan competition, and that every entrepreneurship center decided they needed a competition, the business plan competition, which we now call the New Venture competition. So that was kind of the key thing. And when I got here in 2005, I thought we would try to cooperate more with our tech transfer office and to see what we could replicate what we were doing at Washington. They were very cooperative back then. They welcomed us with open arms, but it didn't get the traction that we had at Washington. And so we had to, one thing with entrepreneurship, if something doesn't work, you pivot, right? And so we pivoted from that model a bit, although anytime we have an opportunity to work with our what is now our tech transfer operation here and the faculty engaged in projects, we're always more than happy to help out and form a team. But that, I don't think, is the main emphasis we have now. Is more on educating entrepreneurial thinking, which I fully support.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, entrepreneurship, just in general, as it is, it's I guess everybody used to believe it as basically only business, but now it's spreading across and being redefined, revisioned. And so it's such an interesting topic. But for Sandra, as our fearless leader of PACE, from your perspective, what defines PACE's legacy over the past 25 years?
So I feel like Dean Roley kind of touched on it really well when he said, right, entrepreneurs pivot. For me, PACE really embodies what an entrepreneur needs to be, right? When PACE started, we tried things out, right? We had ideas for what it should be. But then when we realized after looking into things that maybe that's not the way to go, then we had to pivot. And I think that's what PACE has done over the years, right? I have the Shidler Business Magazine because it has an article about us celebrating our 25-year anniversary, and it has like a mini history of it. But I really do think that history covers it, right? We started out in this 200 square foot space, then we expanded to a 1,300 square foot space, and then now we're here, right, in the Walter Dodge Junior Rise Center, a 100,000 square foot building. Pretty amazing. And it's not just about the size of our space, right, but it's also the community that we've built. And that is attributable a lot to when Dean Roley came on board. He created this ecosystem for us, right? He created partners in industry as well as the community. He built up the students at the Shidler College. So all of that contributes to our success. So it's like a combination of us growing, having this community support, and then, of course, the PACE team building new programs, right? And all of those programs have to adapt and change depending on what our students' needs are at the time, because we want to prepare them for their careers out in the real world. And so that's the focus now, right? It's an educational focus, but can it lead to that commercialization that Dean Roley was originally talking about? Of course it can, right? I came from that office that he's talking about. We know the pathway it takes to get people from invention all the way to commercialization. So we have that as well, but we've added that educational component as well, because we want all students at every campus to be successful, to have this entrepreneurial mindset. And that's kind of gotten us to this place where we've expanded over the years.
Yeah, and I am forever grateful. I'm a computer science student, and I mean now, because of everything from PACE, I'm minoring in business, and I'm going to be planning for my master's in finance. And I think a lot of it stems from PACE. I've always been an entrepreneur at heart, but without this year, I would definitely not enjoy my experience at UH as much, not nearly.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great to hear.
Yeah, so I appreciate everything that you've both done.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like kind of that just moves into another thing that we wanted to touch upon, like especially with, we mentioned kind of the growth that PACE has observed in all of this time. And one of the questions that we wanted to ask you was just the national recognition that PACE has seen in all of those years, right? We've grown from that small 200 square foot space. Now we're at 10,000 square feet. Just for both of you, maybe we can start with Dean. One of the national recognitions that we've gotten was the Global Consortium of Entrepreneurship Centers, like that we've received it from. What do you think that kind of says about Hawaii's place in the global innovation ecosystem? We can start with Dean, and then Sandra, if you want to answer as well.
Well, I mean, it's a big award. It's the first global award that PACE has received, and our goal has always been to be, a leading entrepreneurship center for the U.S. I mean, not just Hawaii, but I mean, really be a main player, and that's how we've grown over time. You've mentioned the different sizes of these spaces, and now we're in the Walter Dodds Junior Rise Center, which is incredible. But that is not an accident. I mean, we've kind of slowly been expanding PACE. Well, not actually slowly. We've been expanding PACE over time. And we actually looked at some of the other really great entrepreneurship programs in the U.S. We did multiple road trips. We went back to the University of Washington. We looked at Stanford. And our friends at University of Utah they have Lassonde Studios. Well, guess what? Lassonde Studios is a lot like the Walter Dodds Junior Rise Center. And again, that's not an accident. It's a live, work, learn environment. And so that was a model for Rise. And they have achieved huge impact in Utah. So they've kind of gone the next stage. They've gone from education to actually startups. So they're really a startup hub right now in Utah. But I think that evolves over time. First, you have to educate the entrepreneurs. You have to get this atmosphere of innovation, entrepreneurship. And then I think the startups follow. But anyway, winning the award was really good. I think that means we're taking a seat at the table of the really good entrepreneurship centers in the world.
Okay, so
Okay, do you want to respond
sure,
as well? Yeah,
sure. So I mean, I completely agree with Dean Roley. Is incredibly meaningful for us to get this recognition because it is global and it's from an entity, right, that represents more than 500 entrepreneurship centers across the globe. So to get that recognition in front of them, wow, super meaningful. But at the same time, for me, it was a real tribute to all of the work that's been put in over the 25 years, right? The work from Dean Roley making us and PACE and the center a priority at the Shidler College, to all of the community support we've gotten, right? Everyone coming in to volunteer their time to help support the students or providing monetary support or expertise, like all of that, right? It just shows what it takes to make something really get off the ground, and that you can't do it alone. It really does take the tribe and the group, and you have to do it as a team. So I feel like it was really a tribute to that. It was, we did it, and they recognized it because we did bring so many people together and accomplish this together as a team. Yes.
So on that topic of team and tribe, thinking of, I guess, the driving force behind PACE is the community, from John Dean's leadership to Walter Dodd's generosity. With that in mind, how do you feel, Sandra, about how these partnerships shape the center's impact?
So, we couldn't do it without the community, right? We couldn't do it without the partnerships. And I guess I'll kind of step back a little bit. Dean Roley made us a priority, as I said. He supports all of our headcounts, all of the people that we all work with, right? That make the programs happen, that make the center happen. But in order to execute on our programs, right, we have more than 100 volunteers that help us every single year to support the students. And as part of RISE, we fundraise more than $10 million. And that's so that, right, we can offer all of these programs, everything in the space, for free to our students, right? We can provide the mentorship, we can provide educational workshops, we can provide funding, we can provide scholarships. All of that is because of our community. So, right, we couldn't offer any of this without that community support and really kind of leveraging everything that is out there and the expertise that's out there to offer what we do offer to the students, not just at the Shidler College of Business, but to every student in the 10 campuses of the university system.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most beautiful and incredible things that I've learned when I was here at PACE, is that it's all from voluntary donations. As I go out and talk to other people in different organizations in school, and they're like, oh, why can't we use this? It's like, does it fall under the rules of the UH system? But it's no, because it's voluntary donations, right? And still all these resources are free to students. Yeah, so amazing.
Yeah. And even connecting back, we talk about so many of the amazing programs that PACE now offers. And I kind of wanted to highlight like the start of that, like a lot of the foundations for PACE. One of those was the Kipapa Ikeala lecture series. This is one of PACE's early signature programs. And I just wanted to ask for Dean Roley, how important these kinds of flagship programs and events have been for igniting student interest and really just that growth that can be attributed to PACE?
I don't think it was so much igniting student interest, it was igniting community interest in PACE.
Right.
So John Dean was really, really important at the start of PACE. He's still a really active supporter. He's on our board of directors. He's a legend, because of the Silicon Valley Bank, and just a tremendous guy. That lecture series engaged the community. So he funded it. He most of the time found the speakers for it. These were usually successful Silicon Valley entrepreneurs and venture capitalists. We've had other people too. I mean, Steve Case talked at lecture. Pierre Midyar did as well. And we have an interesting group of alumni who grew up in Hilo. There's something about Hilo. So we had the Hilo entrepreneurs once, and all three of those last three events were 500 people were in attendance.
Wow.
So this really raised the profile. But the interesting ones too were kind of struggling entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley, and to hear their experience and what we could replicate and learn from that here. And that got, we have 100 volunteers or so now. That's what really started getting the community engagement with PACE. And then once we got community engagement, we were also working on getting student engagement. But without the community, we couldn't do what we do. So that was really, really important.
I think that is amazing because you said 500 attendees. That's an amazing amount of just community interest. Like, where do you think that came from? Just with the types of speakers that you were getting for the series, or just the way that you were promoting the mission?
It was famous. Those were all very famous. Steve Case, I mean, he doesn't do a lot of public speaking events here in Hawaii. Pierre Midyar does zero, essentially. And we got him, and he was a speaker. These were interviews, too. So Susan Yamada was the moderator, and she is incredible doing that, moderating these events. The Hilo boys, they were, let's see, it was Barry Taniguchi, KTA Superstores. Who else did we have? Dwayne Carisu, of course, who lives here now and has Hawaii Business Magazine, also a big real estate investor, and Alan Ikawa, Big Island Candies. So those were the three. And these guys never would. Susan kind of tricked them to get them to do this. She said, "Oh yeah, Barry's going to do it, so you should do it." And then she said, "Alan's going to do it, Barry, so you should do it." And that was really a fun event. But I'm always struck again by the number of entrepreneurs we have who grew up in Hilo.
So, well, of course, with the opening of the Walter Dodds Jr. Rise Center in 2023, since then, what has been the most exciting or surprising thing you've seen so far?
Yeah, Sandra, what?
Or just the fact that it's built? I mean, it's amazing.
So that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
So for us, having it open on time and on budget, we were all anxiously awaiting that approval so that the students could move in. So I definitely think opening the doors on time.
On budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as Walter Dodd says, without any taxpayer support.
Yeah.
Right.
All
So,
private.
privately funded. So that was great. I think but then the flip side, right, or if you're looking at it from the student perspective, for me, it's just seeing the students in the space, right, and hearing their stories and their impact. I'm not going to name names, but just seeing what people do and how this space and how the programs have impacted them. What we all learn is that having a community is incredibly important to being successful and kind of reaching your potential, because right, you have the community, but then people are always, like your peers are always challenging you to do better. And I feel like that's what this created. And you actually see it in the testimonials that the students share with us, or even Tim with what you said here today, right? Like for me, those are the goosebump moments. I'm like, oh my gosh, the students are being impacted. They're growing as students and coming out for the better, right? And that's why we do this. That at our core, right, the university is an educational institution, and we really want to support and drive student success. So being able to see that and being able to see our students excel, for me, like every time, even no matter how small the story, I'm like, oh my gosh, amazing, right? Even if it's like not me specifically, but knowing that our programs are what helped it. Those are the moments, right? Like somebody got a job because somebody in PACE Leaders introduced them to somebody else. I'm like, oh my God, right? Like, so all of that, it's great. It's doing what it's supposed to do. And I think for me, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah. And being a part of the programs, I can see firsthand that there's always innovation, always ideas coming up. So, maybe we can try this, or maybe we could try doing this. With the, I don't know if I can say this, the Future AI Potential Lab, possibly. And I mean, trying to utilize the space to its fullest. I know there's a group of med students that are very thankful. They're always using the whiteboard. I know maybe you can cut a clip to that. But yeah, and it's like all of these medical terms over a span of 3 or 4 walls, and it's amazing just having them consistently coming and using the space so gratefully.
Yeah. It's that multidisciplinary too, right? To see people like folks like you, computer science, and then the business students like Jamie, and then medical school students. I think that's what we're always sharing with folks is like, right, you need to have those diverse perspectives in order to make true impact, right? Like one train of thought is not going to do it. So, right, that's another aspect of what I think was wonderful to see, was to see participation from every college and school, right? And to get participation from the campuses, from the neighbor islands, all of it.
Yeah,
Great.
definitely the most exciting place next to campus, not on
Yes.
campus.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like it just kind of really highlights, you were talking a lot about student stories, student success stories that you found like really impactful. I'm just curious to know, like, do you have any specific moments or like highlights that you can share with us about something that was like, wow, like, like you mentioned, the goosebump moments. I'm curious to hear more about that.
So a lot of them, right, have to do with when I hear the testimonials or really hearing people share about their success. And it could be, right, getting a job or having an internship at a startup to get the experience they want. Yeah, I don't want to point out particular people or specific people, but like some of it could be as small as, and I shared this with our board at our last board meeting, was people wrote handwritten notes to our team to thank them for what we created here and the community we created. And it really just touched my heart. So like I took pictures and it went into my board presentation so that all the board members could see, because it's also them, it's also the community. So they need to see the impact that they're having by being a part of what we do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I know we do have a time restraint, so we're going to try to move this a little bit faster. My apologies, I have too many questions sometimes. But so one of the things that we definitely want to touch upon is that you have supported over 825 students across UH system and distributed more than $250,000 in scholarships and awards. Do you have any favorite stories or examples of student success that really captures your heart and pace?
Specific stories. To me, it's just seeing folks win competitions, seeing people actually try, bring their ideas to life. So I guess one example of someone that's really having an impact that is scaling in a sense, but is not the traditional entrepreneur, was Condi Krieger. So she was the founder of EduKits along with another student. She came in second place at our UH venture competition, but right, she's creating these kits to help educate students in STEM in the public schools. And these kits she's producing them herself. She has a curriculum and she made that herself, and she's distributing it to schools for free because she knows how hard it is for teachers to go out there and spend their own money in order to comply with this mandate. So her going out there and impacting, I think it was more than 40 schools by now.
Wow.
Yeah, right, and she's doing it in her own time. She went through our program here, our venture competition. She did Colo grants. She did Summer Startup Launchpad. So really just taking advantage of all of our resources and our support and then going out there and making that impact. Those are the types of things that are really nice. But I don't want to act like it's like favorite, right? Because there's so many events and so many stories that we hear that are impactful and we're really proud of. But like that's just an example.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just from the venture competition, there's like WellNet, a group that's trying to assist with the elderly and falling, and Locke, who's also working on helping farmers in Vietnam. I mean, and that's just like the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
But I guess moving forward and looking ahead, we've been talking about, I guess, maybe the foundations and the history of PACE. But Dean Roley, as you look to the next 25 years, what excites you the most about where PACE is headed?
PACE has had remarkable growth over the last 25 years. I anticipate the same kind of growth over the next 25 years. There's still a lot of engagement that can be done with the rest of the campus. I think that's going to be our next big push. I mean, Sandra's doing an amazing job of engaging the rest of the campus, not only through RISE and the scholarships we give students outside of the Shidler College business, but engaging with other deans, other faculty, and other units. That is going to really be the next level when we have full engagement with the rest of the campus. And I think that's something that we will accomplish over the next 25 years. It's starting now, and it's going to continue to expand.
Yeah, and even Sandra, I'm interested in hearing like, as PACE continues on, how do you see them like continuing to support not just Shidler, we mentioned like the overall UH system and the community?
Right, so I guess to pick up on what Dean Roley's saying is, right, we really want to expand. I mean, we are a resource for the entire UH system, so all 10 campuses, so all 50,000 students is who we'd want to support. And we do, right, open up our resources. They're free. Anyone can participate in them. But, right, how do we do that? How do we bring them in? And so I feel like there are at least 3 things that I can share right now, how we're trying to make that impact and share what we're doing, encourage folks to have an entrepreneurial mindset, experiential learning opportunities. And so one of those is engaging our faculty, right? So we've learned that, right, faculty are the closest to the students since we at PACE are completely extracurricular. And because of that, right, there's such a key player in every student's lives. We have a faculty professional development program called Elevate. So that's a collaboration with the UH Online Innovation Center, as well as the Maui Economic Development Board. And so in that program, we are encouraging our faculty to incorporate the entrepreneurial mindset, engineering design thinking, experiential learning into their classes. So upgrade your curriculum, right? Teach what we're teaching here at PACE to your students. And through that, right, we're able to then touch so many students in those classrooms because we're basically training the trainer. So we've done that for a year now. We're in our 2nd year. So that's one way that we're spreading across campuses. We've had faculty and instructors from all 10 campuses of the UH system participate in this program. And then the second way is we're developing right now an innovation and entrepreneurship certificate. So it's going to be a 5-course program, but it's starting out first as a micro-credential with a digital badge. So it'll be an introductory course to innovative problem solving paired with an intro to entrepreneurship course. And if you take those 2 courses, then you will get the micro-credential and digital badge. Then what will stack on top of that is business for non-business students. So those 2 courses would be marketing and management in one course, and then accounting and finance in another course. And then that's the second micro-credential and digital badge. And then if you take a capstone course in innovation and entrepreneurship, then that would complete the whole certificate. So that's in process, but that's something that's going to be available to all students, right? And it's a way for us to share and teach the students what we teach here in our PACE programs, but also give them the credit for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So, yeah. So that's the second way. And then you kind of, the cat's out of the bag now. So we're in the process of, we're in the process of developing, we don't know the name of it, but in like an AI innovation lab at PACE. And so, right, AI is the latest in tech. It's something that I feel like we need to combine with what we're teaching here. So we are figuring out how to stand it up and then open that up and make it available to all students as well.
Definitely. I think that's so important. I mean, AI, it's not coming, it's here already. And it's affecting everybody's life. All students are using it, and being able to effectively use it in the proper way, as well as incorporating it into the teaching that teachers use. I think pedagogy is one of the most important things that isn't focused on enough. And it's awesome to hear that, that is being focused on. Adding the entrepreneurial mindset will only make things better for students as well.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. See, so we're in agreement. We want to combine those 2 things and offer that to students, give them that leg up. I should say that we are collaborating with others on these projects. We're not doing it alone, just like everything else we do. So the Online Innovation Center, UH Online Innovation Center is collaborating with us on the AI lab. And then for the Innovation Entrepreneurship Certificate, we're collaborating with the College of Engineering.
Cool. Oh, that's super exciting. All right. Well, for students listening who might be curious about entrepreneurship, but hesitant to get started, what message would you share with them?
Attend our events. They're not scary. Bring your friend if you don't want to come alone, and sign up for something that you see that you think is interesting. It could be a make and take, and then everyone can meet Tim and his team, or it can be an e-live, and you can meet Jamie and her team. So we offer those events every month, and very low barrier to entry. Or bring a friend, bring many friends, whatever it is, have fun. We always have food.
Yeah. And actually, I've had students from UH West Oahu as well as from the community colleges coming to the event. So it is definitely getting that outreach to the other campuses.
Nice.
All right, I know we have 5 more minutes with Dean Roley, but this last part is quite quick. Into our lightning round. So before we wrap up, well, let's have some fun with a quick lightning round. Short answers, gut reactions. If you could describe PACE in one word, what would it be?
Innovative.
Empowering.
What's your favorite memory at PACE, whether it's a student pitch, an event, or just a small moment that stuck with you?
Pace changed when we hired Susan Yamada as our executive director many years ago, and then we've had 2 incredible entrepreneurship directors following her, including Sandra.
So for me, definitely Rise opening was a special moment. Definitely got goosebumps. I wasn't here, obviously, when Dean Roley came on board, but that was obviously a pivotal moment for PACE and the Entrepreneurship Center as well.
Favorite spot on campus to recharge or get inspired?
Of course, the Walter Dodge Jr. Rise Center on the 2nd floor.
I agree with that. This place is awesome.
One book, podcast, or movie you'd recommend to a student entrepreneur?
I like 2. I like Field of Dreams and The Godfather.
Oh.
They're both innovative. They're both kind of entrepreneurs. And I like Godfather management style.
Okay.
I say, how did that fit in there? If you build it, they will come.
Yeah. Determination, dreams.
Right.
So mine is more, maybe along those lines, the optimism, the hope. So I really like the Start With Why, Simon Sinek, and his podcast as well, very optimistic. And I do feel like that why is very important.
That is a great one.
How about the most surprising skill you feel an entrepreneur needs?
Maybe patience.
Oh, that is surprising. I wouldn't have thought of that.
You can't give up. You have to be patient.
True.
Okay, so what steals what I'm going to say? So for me, it was perseverance, right?
Yeah.
And I do think that what comes along with that is not giving up, right? And no matter how much you're getting beaten down, it's like you have to find the path forward and keep trying. And so I think that's,
That matches the movie that I would have thought. Meet the Robinsons, to keep moving forward.
Yes.
If you could bring in any entrepreneur, past or present, to speak at PACE, who would it be?
I would ask John Dean again. We haven't had him for a while. I would love to hear his thoughts, because not only he did Silicon Valley entrepreneurship, he was big in Asia. He was in China quite a bit, and then he knows Hawaii well. It'd be interesting to hear his perspective after all this time.
Okay, so I want to get your reaction. So for me, Taylor Swift.
No.
I guess we have a Swiftie in the house.
No, actually, I'm not a Swiftie by any means. It's kind of more objectively, right? Like she's a billionaire.
Yeah.
And she created this business empire. And yes, she was a singer, but she diversified her portfolio of businesses. She figured out how to protect her IP. And I feel she was very innovative in how she did her marketing. So to me, it's like, it's not as much her music. It's really kind of everything she did in order to get where she's at. It's not like every singer is like her, right?
Yeah.
And she all did it in the social media era. So, right, I think it's amazing. So
That's right. She shoots her music videos with no music, right? Is that what it is?
well, actually, I don't know. See, I don't even know any of those details. I'm
or
just
maybe
looking
it's
at it from
somebody
like the business part.
That's like part of how she protects her IP, like her music. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Moving on.
Okay, what's one Hawaii value or practice you think makes our entrepreneurs unique? Only find here.
I think it's kindness. I mean, I've been around a lot of entrepreneurs in Seattle and Silicon Valley. Entrepreneurs and venture capitalists here are kind relative to the rest I've met.
Yeah, I agree. Right? It's like kind of that aloha spirit that everyone talks about. That's the really important part. I think that's what makes Hawaii special.
Oh, if you could give students one secret advantage for starting a business, what would it be?
Money.
That's definitely important. Okay, so for me, right, I guess you're saying secret. For me, like if you could just give it to them miraculously or something, it would be lived experience. I do feel like lived experience is so important, and you don't realize it until you've lived it. So if we could give it to them earlier somehow, right? Give them that knowledge of kind of you need to practice, and the more you practice, you'll get there. As you're practicing and living that experience, to me, yeah.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received in your career?
So for me, I think it's all has to do with character and the importance of protecting your character and who you are, not being influenced and or persuaded to stray from your ethics and your morals. So be very protective of your character and how you're portrayed and the decisions you make.
That's very important. I think with me it was, character is very important, but also the fear of failure, not having the fear of failure. And it wasn't in an entrepreneurial context, but one of my Harvard professors, my main professor at Harvard, famous guy, and he said, when I submit a journal article to a journal, every journal, on average, is rejected 2 times before it's accepted. And this guy's a famous guy. And I said, oh. So, when I got something rejected, I didn't feel bad. I just reflected back on that. So it's not having a fear of failure.
Yeah.
All right. In 3 words, describe the future of entrepreneurship in Hawaii.
Brilliant. Outstanding. Oh, 3 words? Sandra.
Oh my God, I have so much to live up to. Okay. So for me, I think vibrant, impactful, and promising.
Oh, yay. Okay, and that was the last of our lightning round. Thank you very much. But yeah, thank you so much for coming and spending the time you had today with us to do this podcast.
No, thank you,
Yeah,
Tim.
thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
So
Appreciate it.
who won the lightning round? Wasn't that a contest? I mean,
So competitive. That's what you need to be as an entrepreneur too. Very competitive. Yeah.
Sure.
that was fun. Thank you.
We hope this episode has inspired you to continue on your entrepreneurial journey. Remember, all you need is to take that first step to set your wave into motion.
Don't forget to follow us for more inspiring stories and expert advice.
Thanks for tuning in. Catch you on future episodes of The Next Wave by Pace, where we celebrate the entrepreneurs of today and tomorrow. As always,
Keep up the pace.